Hello everyone, my name is Katy and welcome to my channel, and this is an impromptu live and we are going to do a cotton cuts unboxing for the Modern Maker box. So welcome Sean and Glenda and anyone else that possibly might be in here at the moment. Welcome. So let me make sure I have everything in place. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I need to switch things around a little bit, looks like. Okay, I'm just switching windows around so they look better. Okay, all right, now I can see everything. Okay, hi Pam. You're going to hear me sniffling a little bit. Can't do anything about that. But I'll try not to spend too much time sniffling, but it's kind of hard. So here's the plan. I'm going to talk to y'all about the Modern Maker box from Cotton Cuts first, and then I'm going to unbox it. Then we're going to sew a block from the fabric that came in the box, and I have pulled a small amount of fabric to go with the 3 colors that came in the box. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to talk about the Cotton Cuts box, and then we will continue from there. Hey Debess, welcome. And I can hear the TV in the bedroom. Anyway, let's get started by sharing the screen. Let me see if I can. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is go over a little bit of information about the Modern Maker box. So you're going to go to Cotton Cuts website, and when you get there, which is cottoncuts.com, and you're going to click on memberships. And below the memberships, you're going to find one that says Explore Modern Maker. And we're going to go there. And then it says, welcome to Modern Maker. Every Modern Maker membership comes with the following: 3 one-yard cuts of fabric from a modern and new fabric collection, your choice of a pattern from our designer of the month, a spool of Aurifel thread, a collectible Cotton Cuts color challenge block, a signature number quilty truth pencil, and 25% off all fabric in their fabric shop every day. The Modern Maker ships on the 15th of the month, so you need to place your order before 11 p.m. on the 12th to receive that month's delivery. Looking for something smaller? We'll talk about the mini Modern, but let's go down here and have a look at this. You can do month to month, which is $39.95, or if you prepay for 3 months, you can save a couple dollars and you'll get it for $37.95. If you pay by every 6 months, it's $36.95. If you pay by the year, it's $35.95. And every other month, which is 2 months plus shipping, is $42.95, and quarterly would be $42.95, 3 months plus shipping. So let's go over and have a look. Oh wait, one other thing. If you don't know, if you're not for sure you want to do a Modern Maker box, you can come in here and do a one-time box Modern Maker just to test it to see if you like it. Also, they have a mini Modern Maker, which we're going to click on that. And you get 3 half-yard cuts of fabric from a modern and new fabric collection. You get the same spool of Aurifel thread, a Cotton Cuts color challenge block, a signature number quilty truth pencil, 25% off all fabric. This ships on the 15th of the month. You need to place your order before 11:59 p.m. on the 12th to receive that month's delivery. If you're looking for something more, you can go back to the other. Okay, so now that I've shown that, I will stop sharing the screen. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to show you the box. Now, I want to forewarn you guys that I have already opened the box because I plan on sewing, I plan on making a block with the fabric that came in the box. So I have already cut what I needed to make the block, and I'm going to make the July Cotton Cuts Color Challenge block. That's what we're going to make out of this. So it comes in a box like this. Normally, it would not have the paper already torn on like you see here. And then inside the box, the first thing we're going to talk about is the cards that come in the box. So this one has when life goes to pieces, make a quilt. On the back of it, it says, welcome to your July box. This month, your box features 3 cuts of fabric from a brand new collection, which this one is called Coyote Hill by Katy O'Shea for Art Gallery Fabrics. And let me show you there you go. So those is what they look like. Okay. The next card is your Cotton Cuts block of the month. This is the color challenge block. Now and on the back, you can color this card. So if you get this card colored before the 15th of each of the next following month, so this would have been for 2 days ago when they did the 15th of the month. And also if you sew the block, you can enter both the sewn block and the colored card part. And all you have to do is make sure you hashtag it CC Color Challenge Block, and then you can post it in their Facebook group under Cotton Cuts Fabric, and you can also go to Instagram and tag Cotton Cuts with that tag as well. The next card is for the Designer of the Month. Every month, Cotton Cuts sponsors a designer, and for the box of July, you meet Diane and Audrey, and the card talks about who the designers are. And on the back, there is 5 patterns. And there's a code that comes with this. So you get to pick one of the patterns and you will get it free. And all you have to do when you go to the checkout is put in the code and you'll get it for free. So that's the other gift that comes with this. Okay, now the other things that we get in this box is a Cotton Cuts pencil. Let me see if I can get the camera to see it. I don't know if the camera will see what it says or not. So you get one of those. And with this box, I got some Aurifil thread. This is 50 weight, and it is, let me see if I can see this one is 4655. That's the number for this particular color. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is show you the fabric. So the first piece I'm going to show you is, I noticed with this fabric, it's directional. So I find that to be interesting. So let me show you this first one. I'm trying to make sure I show it to you so you can get a good look at how it's directional. So we got 1 yard, 3 1-yard pieces. And so this is like the camera doesn't even show the real color, but it's a blue color. So there's this one, and this particular one, I don't know if it tells you what it is. It's just from Coyote Hill, but I don't know if it really describes which one this is. So you get this one. The next one I'm going to show you, this one. Can you see the owls? Yep, you can choose your pattern. And then there's this. This is what came in my box as an ambassador. So you may not have got, if you had gotten July's box, your box might have been slightly different depending on what they chose. And this is also a blue color. The little camera seems to show it better. Okay, so here's the 3 pieces that came in the box, 3 1-yard pieces. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to take this color card challenge block, and we're going to make a block from these 3 1-yard fabrics. And also I decided that I wanted to add a little pop. So this is from my stash, and this is Juicy Juice that I happen to have. And so I am going to use this to help give it a little pop. Okay, So now what I'm going to do is we'll set all of this aside. And I have already cut. Where's the block? Oh, I need to. Uh-oh, I misplaced something. Okay, so let's talk about this card a little bit. The block. So basically they give you cutting instructions, but there's no directions on how to put the blocks together. But if you're a visual learner like me, this is good enough. As long as you have the measurements, you can do anything with what you're making. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to sew. I'll start with the center, and I'll sew a 4-patch. Now, what I've already done is pre-cut everything I needed out of, like I said earlier, about how it had already been in the box. So I have also fussy cut those 4-patch blocks that are going to be sewn together because of the fact that the fabric was directional. And I also took that blue that you saw with the long, straight, horizontal lines on it. I'm sewing it all in one direction too. So I've spent a little extra time trying to make it so it'll be interesting. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take out, I have these all laid out so that everything is facing in the same direction that I want it in. That way I don't get myself confused, because I'm easily confused when it comes to things like this. So as you can see, I have fussy cut these owls, and I fussy cut the birds. And I'm going to sew them together, and because they're going to be sitting at, someone help me out, when you tilt those block, what is that called? On point, I think is what it's called. So this block will be on point because we're going to do a square and a square around it. I'm going to take the juicy juice to trim, to put the square and a square, around the 4-patch to help set off the colors. So let's sew these 4 patches first together. So I'm going to take 2 and sew them together, and I'm going to make sure I keep the direction set the way I wanted it. I will be pressing these seams open. How's everybody tonight, and what have y'all been working on while I'm sewing these? So I do have a question. I don't know if anyone's watched my first Modern Maker box, which was pre-recorded. I thought I would test run doing one live as well. And I would really like your opinion on whether you liked the pre-record or did you like the live. So after I have stopped the live tonight, maybe you can post down in the comment section below the description box and tell me, did you prefer the pre-record or did you prefer the live? Let's see what your opinions are on this. I'd really like to know. Or I can also post a poll on the community tab if that will help, so you can go and answer it after you've had a chance to watch the other one if you haven't seen it. Hi, Robin. Hope you're doing good. What are y'all working on tonight? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and finger press them open. And then I will finger press open the seam on the back. And I'll use my trusty seam roller. I will be pressing them with a hot iron soon. Okay. So tell me what you're working on. Or if you're just taking a chilled out Friday night. Okay, now what I'm going to do, now that I've sewn the 2 together, I'm going to go ahead and sew all the blocks together and make them one 4-patch block. Did I miss saying hello to anyone? If I missed you, hello. But I think I caught everybody. Okay, let's get this. Yeah. I'm making sure I have these all going the right direction as well. So right now what I'm doing is I'm pinning them together because then I want to have it as close to being, the seams being straight down the center and not be off or something, because you know how that happens when you're sewing. Robin says she's working on a bag of chili cheese Fritos. I wish I could eat hot, spicy things, but I can't. I am learning how to eat a little bit spicier of Thai food, though, because I have the friend that we're friends with that owns the boat. His wife is from Thailand, and she's always making Thai food. Okay, let's get this sewn together. I don't know why that looks crooked, but it does. All right, let's get this part done. And then I'm going to go over and press it with the iron. Uh-oh, I need to take that needle out of the middle. Forgot to do that. All right, let's get this leader off. Then I'm going to go ahead and finger press open. And then I'll go over to the iron and finish pressing it, because I want to make sure everything looks good. All right, let's see what I can do over here. How's everybody's day been? Did everybody have a good week? There you go. Deb says I finished the Christmas star quilt top today and made a fabric rectangle basket today. Done sewing for today. Pam says I just got my beloved faff back from the spa, so it's now back on my tables. I should be loading the long arm 2 baby quilts, almost ready to go. Oh, very cool. And Glenda says back working on Tammy's quilt pattern. Angie altered pattern. Thankful to be back sewing. I'm glad you're doing better. That's great. So, oh, this is hot. And this is what it looks like before I put because what it's going to end up doing is looking like this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of these triangles, and I made them a little bit bigger so that I could trim down. I think I only did like 1/4 of an inch bigger, something like that. So I have a crease right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the crease with the center of this block. And I'll do this on both sides of the block so that I can do both sides at the same time. So let's pin this in the middle, and then I'll show you what I did to it. And it's supposed to overhang a little bit. And then I'll turn it upside down. And we're going to put the other triangle on. Same thing, crease it in the middle so that you can line it up with that center seam. I'm glad you're enjoying the fabric. It's Fallon's pattern from So Be It Quilt. Oh, okay. And I'm going to go ahead and line this crease up with the center seam, and I'm going to pin. And I'll have a pin on each end as well. All right, now let's get these sewn. Let me get my leader back on here. And I'm going to turn them over so that I can see the seam. I'm not so brave like Kimberly. Kimberly sews on the other side, but she can't see the seams. But I haven't gotten confident enough to start doing that yet. Because sometimes I accidentally catch the seam allowance and it gets bent back the wrong direction. Okay, so we've got this side done. And we're going to turn it around and do the other side after I get that leader off. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so how's everybody's day been? What you been doing? I mean, I already asked you what you did today, been doing on, but did you have a good day? I hope everybody did. And I bet everybody's looking forward to the weekend. I have to work Sunday. I have 3 tours scheduled for me on Sunday, but at least I get tomorrow off because I have been working the last 4 days. Uh-oh, that didn't cut. All right, now let me clean this up a little bit. I'm going to finger press it to start with. Now this one, I don't think I'm going to do open seams on this. I think I'm going to leave them in the direction they are. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking my roller and I'm gently pressing it, and then I'm going to go heat it up with the iron. Okay, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to leave these on for right now, the little ears. I'll trim them after I put the other side on. So now what I'm going to do is turn it the other direction, crease it here in the middle like I did the other two, and then I'm going to line it up with the center and pin. Hi Izzo, how are you? I need a moderator in here. Forgot to ask someone. All right, we got this side pinned on. Now we're going to pin on the other side. Let me grab this last one. Same thing, crease it in the middle. And then you're going to put it in the on the center seam, line it up, then pin. You don't have to pin. I'm a pinner for currently. One day I may be different. Okay. Now I have both sides pinned. So we'll go ahead and start sewing that side on. Katy, please don't. Oh my gosh. Shh. Hang on a minute, you guys. Ah, Sean took care of it. Thank you, Sean. I figured that's what he was up to. How is Blaze and Thomas? Okay. I have an update. He had a job interview with Family Dollar 3 days ago. Thomas said the interview went really well. In fact, the lady who interviewed him said that because he has the skill set that he has, she said that he has enough skills to become an assistant manager. But I'm not exactly sure if whether Thomas wants to do that, But I think but they had to do a background check, which is making me scared. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the background check, and I hope that he's, because they're offering him the job, but they still have to do the background check before they start letting him work. But he's, you know, he seemed really upbeat about it. The other thing that's going on, we're real close to finding or getting housing. I'm still trying to I'm going to do a live tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the other part of what's going on. That way it doesn't take over this video. But they're fine for right now, and they're real close to getting into housing. And then tomorrow night I will talk more about it, because I'm going to go ahead and set a date to give both quilts away to the winners. So if you're still interested in doing that, all you have to do is, I'll post a link tomorrow so you can find it. Okay, here's what it looks like before I trim it up. What do y'all think? Do you think that yellow makes it pop? I hope y'all like it. What do y'all think? But Blaze started school on Monday, and he likes his teacher, and everything seems to be going all right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and press this first, then I'm going to trim it. All right, let's move this out of the way so I can, I need a ruler. Okay, these sides should be 6.5. All right. Yep, these are where they're supposed to be. So all I'm going to do is trim off the dog ears and make sure all of the seams are straight. Okay, let me get this all lined up properly. All right, got one side done. Let's go do the other side so that I have a straight line to work with. All right, now we're going to turn it around and do the same thing. All I'm doing is trimming off the dog ears and making sure everything looks correct. And we got one more side to do. Okay. And here it is. You have an on-point block and a square and a square. Do you like the yellow on it? Okay, now what I'm going to do, is this part of the block. We're going to work on these strips plus the corner blocks. So first I'm going to have these two sides sewn, and I'll go ahead and attach it to the block, and then I will sew the corner block strip, corner block on the top and the bottom, and then we'll start joining everything. Also, I have to make sure that everything is going in the right direction as well. Okay, so first side I'm going to sew on is this side. So I'll put it on the left and we'll sew it on. but I can do 2 at a time, just like you saw me doing with the square and the square. So I'll be pinning both sides. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Robin, and whoever else that said. Okay, now I'm going to put the left side on. And then after I sew the 2 sides on, I'll press it with a hot iron first, and then we'll come back and start on the 2 longer strips. I will also be putting out another bit or a pre-record for the other box. So both my boxes were late because they went missing. And so Cotton Cuts had to resend both boxes, which is sad because they're losing money, especially when I'm an ambassador and, you know, they're paying for this to be done. So, you know, it's sad when stuff disappears in the mail. But it's definitely not their fault. I'm going to make sure that I don't accidentally sew off the point on here. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So I got one side done. Now we're going to go to the other side. Get that leader off so I can use it again. And let's get this side sewn. All right, so we've got that part done. All right, let's finger press it first. And I'm pressing it toward the blue. And then I'll come over here and do the same on the other side. Please tell me I don't have this upside down. No, good. Whew, I thought for a minute I sewed that the wrong direction. Okay, let me press it and then I'll show it to you. Okay, this is what it looks like so far. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on my design board. I have a design board set up here so that I don't get anything confused. So now what I'll do is I'm going to join the I need to sew, yeah, this needs sewing together. I already have the top one done, but I'm going to sew this together. Then I'll sew this to this and this to this. Same thing up here on the top, and then we're going to sew all of it together to make the block. All right, let's get this strip sewn first. Hey, Christine, I am working on a Modern Maker box, and I'm making this block from the fabric that came inside the Modern Maker box. I'm making this block. I'm glad you came. Thank you for coming. I missed you. Okay, so let me get this sewn. So this week, so while I'm sewing, I'll talk about this week on my job. I have been a very busy tour guide this past few days. Let's see. Yesterday, I tour guided 4 groups into the tannery. Most of them were Americans, which means this. So I earned $145 worth of tips for 4 hours of work yesterday, which makes me happy, of course. And everybody, when they walked out of the tannery, each group, they all had really big smiles on their face. And the day before, I helped with another guy, one of the other ones that works for her. And we sold tours all day long. So here's the strip. So now I'm going to put it up here so I don't get confused. So first thing I'm going to do is like what you've been seeing me do. I'm going to sew on both ends so I can get them done at the same time. So we're going to put this one on. I hope I didn't. Oh, that's upside down. Okay. And I'm also trying to make sure that I keep everything in the same direction. So the day before, from like, I had to be at work at 7. So about 7:30 to, I think we stopped at 5 o'clock. So I worked 7 hours. And we spent all day selling the tours, getting people walked to the boat. Some were doing ribs, which meant one of the younger guys was helping the tourists get the warm suits on because they were doing the rib. Apparently, getting in a rib is an experience all by itself. And that's why they chose to do the rib, because of the experience, apparently. So, yeah, I've been busy. I'm off tomorrow, but Sunday I already have 3 more tours lined up for the tannery. So it's been pretty interesting because I took 120 into the tannery 2 days ago, and then yesterday it was 109 people that went through the tannery with me. It's always interesting when you get questions asked, and it's because there's so much, what do you call it? It's a strange subject because not everybody understands why the indigenous are still hunting the old way. But it was fun. I really had a good time. Yesterday was exceptional. Y'all are too quiet. What are y'all doing? Okay, now I'm going to sew it on the other side. You still there, Sean? Okay, let's get this side sewed. Why does it sound like I'm about... Ooh, I'm getting close to running out of a bobbin. Oh. Okay. All right. We've got the top one or the bottom one done, and I'm going to go ahead and press it. And then when I get the top one undone, I'll press both of them. So let's get them finger pressed. And yeah. I need to pay attention to which way I press this, though. This is going to have to go in the other direction. Which means the other one. Now, since I only did part of it as an open seam and the other part not as an open seam, I got to make sure that when I line these rows up, that they're going to nest each other by being opposite of each other. Okay, got the bottom done. Now let's do the top. All right. Alrighty. Don't forget to answer the poll up top of the channel. Okay. Hey, Susan, how are you? So I'm lining these up to get them pinned. All right, we're going to put this other side on next. Okay. What do y'all think about what we're working on right now? Do you think it's pretty cool? Are you enjoying this? I hope so. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start sewing them on. Put a leader on. And then we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. And then I'll take both of those and press them before I start pinning everything together. Okay, same thing. I have to make sure that this is being pressed the other direction, which is toward the strips. Same thing on both sides because of the way I did the center. Okay, so this is what the strips look like. So now we have the top and the bottom done, so I'm going to go over to the iron and press these. All right, we got one done. Now we'll do the other one. Oh yeah, if you do go buy a Modern Maker box, make sure you use the code Greenland. I forgot to mention that. That will be the code. Now I'm going to show this to you before I sew it together. Okay, this is where we are on the block now. What do y'all think? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the top to the middle and do the same thing with the bottom, sewing it to the middle. And then I'll press the whole block and show it to you. And I'll measure it so I can tell you what size it finished at. But one thing I want to do is I'm going to make sure I line up. You have this seam here, and then you have a seam here, and I need to nest these two seams. And it's the same thing on this side also. I need to nest it. And I'll be doing that with pins so that they don't move. So you want them to be snug, the two seams to be snug up against each other. Okay, and as soon as I get them, as soon as I'm satisfied, I think I have them lined up right, I will go ahead and make sure that I pin it so it doesn't move. Because when I pull that pin out that I used in the center, it won't move because I've already pinned on both sides of it. And this is just me being a little careful. I don't feel like that I'm advanced enough to just wing it. All right, let me get the needle through the center. All right, let's get this pinned in place, and then I'll start putting the pins on each corner or each end. Okay, we've got this pin. Let's take the center needle out, and then we'll come over here and do each end so that that's in place. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it so that I can see these points, so that I don't accidentally, when I sew this part of it, that I make sure that that seam stays on the top of the seam, not on it, because I want it all to be laying flat. So let me put a couple more pins in this side. Also, I'm going to go ahead and pin the bottom on as well. And then I can just sew both sides at the same time. Okay, so let's get the bottom on. Same thing, you want to get those seams nested. All right, let's go ahead and get this lined up. Okay, now I'll line it up. And then I'll make sure it's nested good. Okay, then I'll pin it. And then I'll come down here and do the other side. Same way. Okay, now let's get this one nested real as good as I can get it done, and we're going to pin that too. I need a pin on this one. All right, let me turn it around so I can do the other side. And then I'll pin the corners, and then I'll put some pins in the center. I'll take the center needle out of both of the centers, and then I'll go ahead and start lining things up. All right, let's get this side done. Susan says she won't be chatting much. She is knitting a cardigan. I wish I could find someone who could knit me a long cardigan that buttons down the front. Although what I want it made out of is very expensive. I want a cashmere cardigan. And they're not exactly the cheapest thing to make. Okay, so now I have it pinned. And like I said, when I'm going to have this side facing up so I can see that point. So let's go ahead and start sewing these together. And then when I finish it, I'll press it, and then I'll show it to you as well as measure it. I think I'm going to need a bigger ruler, because it looks like it might be either a 12-inch block or a 12.5-inch block. Christine, what are you working on? I hope you're sewing. All right, we're going to come up on the point, and I want to make sure that I take it really easy through here. got that side done. Now let's move to the other side. And I need to cut the leader off so I can use it again. What I need to do is start getting some of these little scrap blocks that I need to sew together and use those as leaders and sew on them and start making things as I'm using it as a leader. Because I saw Andrea of Arkansas Gal, she's been making 4-patch blocks by making them the leaders. So every time she puts a leader in, it's 2.5 inch blocks. And then when she has plenty of them, then she pins those together to make the 4-patch. And she runs that as the leader. And then she runs what she's sewing on behind it. So she's been doing that as she sews on her videos. And I think that's a cool way of knocking out 2 birds with one, what we call one stone. Okay. Uh-oh, forgot to take that out. Get these out. All right. We've got both sides sewn. Now let me check the seams before I go taking it to the iron. Make sure I don't have to rip something out and fix it. Let's see if I can get away without using the ripper, seam ripper. All right, let me open the top up. Okay, that one seems okay. Uh-oh, I have one off right here. I knew that was going to happen. All right, let me fix this real quick. And just let me see if I can get this up close enough so you can see what I'm going to do to fix this. Okay, so this seam is not lined up right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come about this far on this side and about this far on this side, and I'm just going to rip that part of the seam out. I'm not going to do the whole seam because I don't need to. And then what I'll do is I'm going to realign it again, and then I'll just start a little bit over so that this seam gets sewn over the top of. That way you don't end up with a seam coming apart. And I'll do the same thing when I get on this side. I'll sew a little bit over here into the other seam, and that'll take care of any worries there might be about the seam coming out. And I always try to give myself enough leeway here that, you know, enough space here to work. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over. And we're going to take the seam out. And then I have a pair of tweezers that I can take all of this small pieces of thread out right here. I just pick them out. And then I'll go check on the other side to make sure I got it all. See, there's none on this side. Okay, now let's realign this. Let's see if I can get this snug in there like it's supposed to be. I see another loose thread. All right, let's get this snug as a bug. All right, and then I'm going to pin it. And put a couple more pins right there so it doesn't move. Go on the back and do the same thing. All right. And then what I'm going to do, instead of doing it on the other side, I'm going to sew it on this side. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start about right here. Oops, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, can you see what? Here, let me use the seam ripper. I'm going to start sewing about right here and go across until I come to the other side where the thread is still sewn in, and do like 1/4 of an inch on the other side. Get that lined up. And then I'm just go real easy until I get to the next seam where it's still there, and go right over the top of the other one, and then stop about a 1/4 inch that way. And now let's have a look at the seam again. Let's see if I got it done this time. Yes, I do. Okay, so I just need to trim this up, this messy stuff off the back. Let me go press it, and then I'll show it to you. And I'll be pressing this to the bottom and, you know, out toward the blue. They'll be pressed in that direction. So be right back. Ta-da! What do y'all think? While you're thinking about it, I'm going to go and grab a ruler so that I can measure it. And I'll tell you what the finished block fit at. Let's see, I need a bigger ruler. Okay. So since this is a perfect square, it should come out. So this came out to 12 1/4 that direction. Let's make sure it's the same the other direction. Not sure why it didn't come out 12 1/2, but that's okay. I'm not going to complain, because it really doesn't tell you on the card what the finished block should turn out to be. And it is correct on the other side too. So this is 12 and finished. I don't know if you call this finished or unfinished. So it's 12 1/4 by 12 1/4. And there you have it. This is the fabric from the Modern Maker box. It's set for the yellow. I added the yellow so that I could get a little more contrast to show off the colors and to show off the directional fabric here. And if you notice on the smaller ones, I fussy cut them so that I can make all of them go in almost the same direction. So there you go. This is the July Modern Maker box by Cotton Cuts. Does anyone want to ask any questions about the Modern Maker box? And also, if you do decide you want to become a member, or if you want to test one box, make sure you use Greenland in the code box, because I'm the Modern Maker ambassador currently. Okay, so thank you all for coming to watch my little impromptu live. Tomorrow when I go live, we'll be talking about some of what some of you answered me about. Hey, Joyce. Some of you asked me about Thomas, and we could talk about him tomorrow in the live. And I'll finish telling you everything where we are for with the progress, as well as the fundraiser, and when I'm going to set the date for the quilt drawing. So if you haven't filled out the form, but you donated, if you still want to be part of the drawing, you have to do the form so I know where to have the quilts sent to, because we had 2 donations of quilts. So thank you everyone for coming to my impromptu live tonight. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. Make sure to live, laugh, love, dream, and create. Bye everyone.